Clerk, please call the roll.
Arnold Lee. Here. Bob Murphy. Rick Flynn.
Here.
Mike Burns. David Pyle. Bill McGuire.
Here.
LaDonna Allen. Here. Roger Smith.
Here. We all please stand and join me in our pledge of allegiance and the invocation. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you pray with me? Gracious God, as we come before you, thank you for your presence here tonight for the session of the Carl Junction Board of Alderman. We give all glory to you and honor you and acknowledge you as the creator and provider of all things. You know all things, and we humbly ask for your wisdom, God. As we begin this meeting, we ask that you would guide our thoughts and our actions so that we may guide and direct the community that you have entrusted to us. We ask all these things in your most holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Rick. Next is approval of the agenda. Are there comments or corrections to the agenda?
Make a motion, we approve the agenda as typed.
Second.
Motion by Roger Spencer, second by Holly Levine to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 6 in favor with 2 absent. The agenda is approved. Next is approval of the consent agenda, which is the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, both open and closed. Do we have minutes on the closed meeting? And also the approval of the disbursements.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
That's by Holly Levine, second by Roger Spencer to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 6 in the affirmative, 2 absent. The consent agenda is also approved. Next is a public forum. Anyone wishing to speak during the public forum? Okay, let me read this then. All persons wishing to speak to the mayor and board of aldermen during the public comment portion of the meeting should come forward one at a time and stand at the podium and state your name and address and the subject matter you wish to comment upon. All comments should be directed to the mayor in a civil manner. Comments are limited to 5 minutes unless the mayor or board of aldermen grants additional time. It is the mayor's responsibility to make certain these rules are followed and to maintain order and decorum. If you have a question, the mayor and board of aldermen may, of course, provide an immediate response. However, the mayor and board of aldermen may also provide no response or a response at a later time as they deem appropriate. Please.
Good evening. My name is Jason Stevens. I live at 506 North Calhoun. And I'd like to discuss a stormwater issue that we're having. In early June, I made contact with the city about the sewer pipe that was going in just east of my house and how it could potentially cause an issue with the culvert. Later that month it did. We had water back up into our yard, just across the street. I contacted Bill and LaDonna, had correspondence with them. Everything's been great on that end of it. We are having, I would say, a communication issue with whoever planned that, because the west side of the culvert is about 8 inches lower than the east side of the culvert, so the water doesn't flow through it anymore. And all the water from the north side of the house, which is a 24-inch whistle, and then a 12-inch whistle back to a 24 that goes into a, we call it a 10 or a 12-inch whistle where the communication tower was built. I do have photos of the water backup. In the middle of the road, it was at least knee high. I have a photo of me standing in the water. I did measure the culvert to get those 23 and 15-inch measurements. Of course, my main concern is safety with the people that run up and down that easement, the people that climb on the hay bales and stuff that's across from our house. And then, of course, my personal property. I don't want water coming in my house. Let's see here. I think I spoke to Bill about I believe there's a retention pond or a holding pond east of the community center here where that water should run, and it used to run. So I don't know, like I said, I don't want to point fingers and place blame, but somebody has planned something wrong because that water no longer runs there. It runs down my road, across my road, and then now with the two additions of the houses beside us, to the south of us, those houses have sloped yards and all getting more water. So, that's all I'm good for.
Steve, we have a plan for that now?
We do. Back when Jason got a hold of us, I contacted Sugar Mitchell. They're the ones that are putting in that development to the east of there. They came back. They were supposed to go out and clean out the whistle and clean up the waterway where they had put the sewer in. They failed to do that until about a week ago.
Oh, they stopped that.
Yeah.
They've cleared about 25 feet of it.
On the east side of the road, they got all cleaned out. Kurt Higgins was out there today, and I believe he talked to Mrs. Stevens. He is going to go back and look at that 24-inch whistle that's across from Mr. Stevens' house. If you go downstream of that to where that communications tower is, they actually put in two 12-inch whistles, and Kurt believed, he did not know, he's going to run hydrology on it, that is what's backing up, is that those whistles were not big enough when they put them in. And then also the ditch behind us, and then all the way to the north, up past Jason's house up in there. There needs to be some work done on that too, which is overgrown. There is two ponds, ours here, which collects all of the water that runs off of there. There's also one that Rainer Schultz uses to water his cattle with, to the east a little bit of there too, that it runs through. But his initial thought was the fact that those were smaller culverts, those 12-inch ones, that was causing the backup. He also found a couple other collapsed culverts over here, just to the north of us also, that need to be taken out and put in. They're smaller too, though. So he thought he would have a hydrology and a conceptual back to us next week.
So if those two 12-inch whistles need to be replaced with something bigger, is that our responsibility or Sugar Mitchell?
Neither. That is who owns that cell tower, which is Roberts. I want to say it's Roberts Wireless, but I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look.
It's Hemp Hill is what's on the fence. Just got Hemp Hill, and then there's a phone number. So
Those are, because that side of it is actually out in the county.
that's when it had originally started. Was when those went in, and then when the culvert got blocked, it got even worse.
We're gonna get it fixed. Yes, Don?
I would just like to, I'm not certain what happened, but I would like to apologize because if you started contacting us 4 months ago, I'm sorry it took this long.
I understand that stuff. I mean, if we're working with 3 or 4 different people, I get it. I just figured it would be time to make it public,
I appreciate that.
Anything else here? For Jason? Thank you. Glad you came in. Anyone else in public forum? Last call for public forum. Next is P and Z case 2307 rezoning request from R2 to R3, Walnut and Elliott Northeast Corner from Eliza Bittner. This is a public hearing on this request. I guess.
Obviously, the Bittners are not here. Their nephew was the one of them that was killed out on the railroad tracks, and so they're dealing with some family issues at the moment. So if they have questions or stuff, I'd get as many questions as I could down and forward it to her so that they could answer it.
And we think a lot of you here probably want to talk about that, so that's why we left it on here, although we'll not do anything on the order. Hopefully we'll table that ordinance until next meeting. So as he said that, does anyone here would like to speak in favor of this rezoning? If not, then does anyone like to speak against the rezoning request? Name and all that, just
My
like
name's
public.
Scott Littlefield. I live at 908 Catlin Circle. I've lived here for 5 years. I'm single, I'm a disabled veteran, and I don't think that's a good idea to have a fourplex. We're all single family homes. Duplexes, I would be fine with, but I don't think we should get into fourplexes because then the next meeting would be, well, it's just a sixplex, 2 more, big deal. And then it gets bigger and bigger. I'm sure there's enough areas of this town that has dilapidated homes that could be taken down and someone could spend their money developing that area instead of developing an area where people move to because they want single family homes in a subdivision. I don't think it's very good for anyone who lives in that subdivision to have an apartment complex if you're backed up to it. No one's gonna want that. I wouldn't want it. And that would have been the reason I wouldn't have moved here. And I lived behind the soccer field that was taken down, which, of course, when I moved in 5 years ago, everyone's like, oh, it's been there for years. They're not going to do anything with it. Well, I thought it was schools. It's not. It's Redwood Development. Redwood owns almost all that property. So, in my opinion, it's not good for anyone who lives in Deerfield. That's just my opinion. Just like all the rent houses that are way back in that corner, you can tell the difference in the clientele that you have by looking at all the scattered junk and garbage on lawns and around here, disabled bicycles, all kinds of stuff. So that's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak against? Yes, please.
Hello. I'm sorry. Thank you. My name's Shannon Sampson. I live at 606A Tara Way. In the senior duplexes on my cul-de-sac. My duplex backs up to this property. Now we have, and I was here at the last meeting. We talked about a fence, but there's all kinds of flooding that goes on between that property and ours. My duplex is sitting on the ground on one corner. I'm constantly worrying about that water that runs between, well, it goes all the way from the end all the way down to the road. And it rushes. We have flooding every year, so we've had to have some of the duplexes, then our landlord work on because they were having flooded, so much damage in their places. But anyway, that concerns me because I don't want my place underwater. Who would, I agree with this gentleman about not knowing what's, who's coming in and all that stuff. I've been there for 10 years, over 10 years. I was the only last original person on the cul-de-sac. And we've kind of gotten used to a little bit of where our security is, and it makes me, and I know a lot of the women on the street, it makes us a little nervous, not knowing who's coming in, you know, especially if it's gonna be, two-story or whatever they're gonna talk about building. Just makes me nervous, my security, and then the flooding, like I said. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Dennis Sawyer. My wife and I live at 914 Monroe Circle in Deerfield Estates. And we moved here about a year and a half ago from Florida. And I know that's backwards. All our families here. And when we were looking around for a place to locate, we were quite impressed with Carl Junction. Everybody was so nice. The housing is excellent, and so many single-family homes that people own and take care of, and they really care about it, and so do we. And so we would regret that Carl Junction would lose its flavor by adding maybe a project that doesn't really feel like it fits. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to
Thank you.
speak against this? Yes.
My name is Sharon Logan. I live on 604 Carroll Way. I and Shannon live right where they're going to build those duplexes or apartments. I don't really want to look out and see a fence and all those apartments up there. We do not know who will be living there or how many will be living there. And you're taking down all the wildlife that we really did enjoy. And it's going to be all gone. Plus the trees and everything. I don't know about anybody else, but I love it. I'm right there. And the flooding was atrocious. They do have a couple of houses that are fixed, but behind mine and Shannon's, and there's another duplex. Also, I'm speaking for others. There's 6 women that live all along that where it floods. And it hasn't flooded, but my house actually is on a slope where it gets her house and goes on in if it's going to. So I'm really against it also. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Last call for against. If that's it, then I will close the.
Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Talley.
this is the proponent is not here tonight.
That's correct, yes.
Rather than close the public hearing without the proponent being given a chance to express his
Okay.
arguments for his or her arguments for it, you might consider adjourning the public hearing to a definite date when you could resume this public hearing.
Okay.
Yeah, do you?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, you would need a motion.
Yes.
Should we, like, next?
Next meeting, and if they can't make it next meeting for some reason.
And you should invite these folks
Yes.
back, even though their comments are a matter of record,
Yes.
and you all heard it, but still, there is going to be a continuation of the public hearing at the next meeting, if that's.
Yeah, they may want to hear what they're saying in favor of it, and want to have a rebuttal against it. I totally understand.
I motion we continue the public hearing to November 21st. Is that the next regular meeting?
I'll second that.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Roy Dispenser, to adjourn the public hearing to the next city council meeting, which is in 2 weeks from tonight. All those in favor? 6 in favor with 2 absent. That adjournment passes. So we'll do all this again in 2 weeks. unless there's something else that happens in there. Moving along, next is discussion of Schuler Mitchell's request for water service for the estates at Foxbriar.
We actually have a couple of people, one from Owen Engineering and one from Schuler Mitchell, that can talk about this. And you have in your packet a letter from Owen, a letter from Jasper County Public Water Supply District number 1, and then a couple of conceptual drawings also.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Alderman. My name is Mike Casado with Owen. Just to see mentioned here to present for your consideration the estates of Foxbriar. We are currently in conceptual phase, and I believe what you have before you is a legal description map that delineates where our proposed lots should end up. While it says it's still conceptual, this will be a project that we'll get through for the preliminary plat in Jasper County. So they're still far ahead of us, but we're working to get the water service figured out. Previously, all of this parcel of land was service area for the public water service district. The letter that we had talked with them regarding this project, but they have a soft approval to de-annex the land. The main reason being there is a floodplain that splits right down the middle. There's enough pressure drop when going down to the bottom floodplain back up that seemed rather unfeasible for them to surface it. So hence why we're coming to you guys and looking to get water service figured out. Part of why we're proposing to both leave it in the county but have the city service it is so that we can have a drive connection that connects the existing Foxbriar subdivision west of Joplin Street. That's the way the main thing that we're here to present to you guys is we're asking for something atypical, but we're doing it in a way that would give you an additional egress back to Joplin Street.
Why don't you want to annex into the city for the subdivision?
And the developer, Schuler Mitchell, wants to do state style lots on septic tanks, which is not allowed by city code.
I can speak to that a little more. Sorry. My name is Jacob Lent with Schuler Mitchell Homes. We've actually considered both options on annexing this. It will be connected to kind of a future phase of Foxbriar that we'd be constructing that roadway through. When we looked at this piece of property, because of the way the floodplain runs through it, there's not a particularly feasible way to try to design a subdivision in a way that really pencils on paper. So we scaled it back. These are 1 acre lots that would be serviced on septic. We've split it out. Also going with Jasper County kind of standards for that roadway, we would be able to connect it out for egress. So working with Steve and his team, we decided this was the best hybrid option for this piece of property. So that's kind of how we got to where we're at.
I don't believe we have a deal against septic tanks.
Yeah, we do.
Then how can we let that one get on bunker?
Don't we? Isn't that a DNR?
No, we can approve septic. It's not,
We did it on bunker.
yes, we did it on
to
Buffalo.
switch over to it when we bought our property.
Well, that wasn't it.
Yeah, but I thought it was a requirement because we had to pay, everybody had to pay over in Country Club to switch over.
I have no idea. That's
We were required to do that.
We did approve the septic for the house on Bunker.
And another,
Multiple acres, one house.
You had to approve because our place out there, we were on septic until the sewers come through.
Right.
Because that's what, because we were told at the time that once sewer was available, you were required to connect. You could not have septic.
And part of this proposal, if we were to annex and to provide sewer service and also road sections to match city code standards, that would increase the development costs significantly.
710-130. Whenever the board may deem it necessary, they may by ordinance provide for the construction of septic tank. And it's an approval by the board to do that. That's not
what is it that you have?
Well, I don't know, what's 17.020 part C? It says except as hereinafter provided, so there's an exception. It should be unlawful to construct or maintain any septic tank or other facility. Anyway, that's, I guess,
It is, you're
Here or
required,
there.
you can't build one without your,
Without approval of the council.
you gotta have approval of council to be able to put something in.
Well, and that's the thing, we have a whole lot of citizens like us that couldn't maintain septic that had to pay. So I don't think we should approve new constructions with septic when we made existing residents do it, is what I'm saying.
Not asking to be in the city anyway.
Well, but I have a problem with that. I don't think that we need to provide, I think if you want city services, you need to come into the city. I mean,
I agree 100%.
It's a higher rate.
I don't care. I think if you want the benefits of being in Carl Junction, that you should be in Carl Junction. Because the thing is, if we run that sewer, if we run the water lines and something goes wrong with those water lines, who's going to fix it?
They would be paying City of Carl Junction, the
Right.
imposed rate, so it would be City of Carl Junction lines.
Yeah.
Right, so we would be fixing
Just
Water
just
lines.
like we would on Briarwood Drive,
that didn't,
on Pinnell.
so you will put the lines in and you will us. But here's the problem. It butts right up against houses that are in the city. So, but you're not going to have to go by any city code. So we would be providing the services that the people want, but they would not have any responsibility to follow our codes. So you're going to have people over in Ward 3 that have people like their property joins up to them with no leash laws, no codes, no nothing. If you're going to be right up against the city and you want the city services, I think you should annex into the city. Because like I said, you're going to have a whole ward there that's going to be split between county and city, and we'll have nothing to do with any say over any of that. I understand this isn't going to keep you from building it, but if it's making it easier to build something that doesn't fit our code.
This was the only option where we were able to get that egress from Briarwood to Joplin Street. The other option, should we not get service, we can't feed that road across, we'll just reduce it. So this was an attempt to give the city something that I know we've discussed before, that egress out, so that we don't ground that
So does Schubert own all that land to Joplin?
all the way to Joplin.
Can you not annex all of it into the city?
It doesn't become feasible financially. When we construct that roadway through, it's unfortunately development costs don't allow us to do this. It's got a pencil on paper for us, unfortunately.
And I can understand, you're a business, so you're looking at your financial end of it. So that's what it's coming down to, is the financial end. And so what they're saying is, if we don't do that, then we don't get that road, that egress, right? Like I say, I understand, we're charging them a higher rate. So we're getting the money but there's a whole lot that goes into this whole play too, of developing that in the county.
Absolutely. We want to present to you guys and get that feedback. Like I said, we're still in conceptual, we just want to present.
Mike? Well, one of the points of debate here is this egress out to Joplin Street, like you mentioned, and we've been promised that since phase 1. We thought it was kind of developed, then turns out no, that was never promised until phase 4 or something. But I'm fairly certain that on the last plat that we approved, so that was within city, there was a promise, and I don't know if it's in a contract or if it was just a word of mouth thing. But this egress was never a if we approve or if we give water, then we'll build a road. This was something that has been talked about since phase 1, and
I believe the egress you're referencing is south to Fur Road through phase 6. That is currently held up.
Originally, we asked them to do that, and they said they would. We did not get it in writing. That's why we have the one to Fur Road in writing. And that's why it's there.
there's none to Joplin Street in writing, is what we're saying.
That's exactly right, and that's
just
our fault.
I apologize, that predates me.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you do the egress to Joplin, who's going to own that road and maintain it?
That would be Jasper County Road District.
That will be Joplin Special.
Joplin
Road
Special.
District.
Is it south of Gum?
Yeah, it's south of Gum, so it'd be Joplin
Okay,
Special.
Joplin Special Road.
So it will tie into what street?
Joseph Dillon Lane.
Really? Not Meadow?
No, it's south of Meadow Lake.
Oh, okay, okay.
I say, I understand your point of view as a business, but from a city standpoint, I'd like to see people who want to get the benefits of Carl Junction be part of Carl Junction.
Absolutely.
And it basically comes down to a profit thing.
That's why they call it capitalism.
Yeah, but now we get none of that on our tax rolls or anything else. I mean, so yeah, we're selling them water, but
They don't get their streets plowed. They don't get their leaves picked out.
what
They
happens?
don't get all that stuff.
What happens when a few people move in and then say, well, we didn't realize we weren't going to get all of that, so we want to annex in, and now we've got people that have annexed in that don't meet the requirements.
We don't have to annex them in.
So I assume they will be very clear, because we will end up providing police service, because if they have an emergency and they call, we will provide mutual assist. We will police it just basically like our own in an emergency, because we will respond faster than county can.
As we would for drive.
But they normally don't have to because they have a deputy there.
Well, not full time.
One last question.
Yes, Mike.
And I know this isn't really a question, but in my packet here, I see just a little small diagram of maybe a proposed plat, and it's again outside the city limits, so it's not under our jurisdiction. But you mentioned floodplain, and are these houses being built in the midst of this floodplain?
I have some exhibits,
Okay.
actually, that might be a little easier to look at. Not sure if these were included. This is the full concept for this portion.
Well,
The dark portion there is the floodplain. The 11 lots facing Joplin Street are the ones that Rural Water District said they could feed recently, and then the 18 interior ones are the surface.
And those are, you said 1 acre lots, and so we're just saying you're building the houses on.
There towards the road portions out of the floodplain, yes, sir.
Even for the county on floodplain, building a house in the floodplain is cumbersome and expensive and requires a lot of extra effort on everybody's part because they have a permitting process for floodplain construction similar to ours, which is controlled by FEMA. So they try to move up out of that.
so if you build in there, that's not going to cause any disruption of anything that's going to cause flooding into Ward 3, into Phase 6, right?
And with the 1 acre side, that helps a lot with that.
Well, it's just discussion tonight anyway.
And we're not asking for any answers, just want to present to you guys, answer any questions.
And we're glad you did.
Absolutely. Anything else I can possibly help answer? Thank you, council.
Thank you. Well, now we'll move on to discussion of Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance renewal rates. Stephen?
We met with Insurance Center the other day for our annual health insurance, vision, and dental renewal. What they have given us is a 4.9% increase if we stay with the same coverage. Same deductibles, same doctors, all of that. Employees would not have to do any type of changing at all. Base would be, employee only would go from $685.99 up to $719.60. And the rest of them are adjusted accordingly too. The only way that we know of right now that to lower the cost, and it's actually still an increase, is if we go to a higher deductible, which puts a larger burden on our employees. And it would actually go up about 60 cents. So it'd still be an increase, even though the employee would be taking a larger deductible hit.
What's the increase? Dollars, not the number, the differential.
It's like,
4.9%.
No.
it's like $500 on the deductible.
No. I want to know what the difference is between what they're paying now.
Oh,
So we're paying now versus what it would be if it was higher.
$719.60 is the renewal rate. Currently, we pay $685.99.
$689,
$685.99.
85. Okay.
It'll be about a
So that-
$35 increase.
$35, $36.
$35.
Yeah.
Times 12
14.
is $408.
Times 14. We have
So-
14 employees on that plan.
Right. Yes. My point would be,
Man, there's another
We
12
get-
employees also that would have an increase of an average of about $70.
Yeah, so our
okay.
monthly premium increase would go up $1,400 a month. And that would be through all four of the plans.
Have we talked to any of the employees?
Which is like $17,000.
So for a flat, no change, the deductible would go up $500 per person.
Right.
Which,
How many people go through the deductible every year?
We had very few, he said. He didn't give me the number, but we have very few that go through the deductible. We do have some that do. And this current year, we've had more go to it than what we ever have before.
What did that, so the employees have seen this?
No, not yet. No. This was another discussion item.
even if we increase it to 500, that's $2,000 less than my deductible.
It's a really good deductible either way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's that much more of a deductible. Like you say, unless somebody has usually a major issue or testing that might not be covered. And in that case, I don't know that the 500 would come into play as much as, I'd say when they start having the increase in their family coverage.
Yeah,
Plus,
which-
if we can keep it, I mean, if we could keep it flat, it's going to help a lot because our revenues are going to be flat when we're talking about the increases and stuff.
Family deductible goes up to $5,000 instead of $4,000.
Right. But how much is their family premium going to go up every month?
Family premium would go up $102.50.
A month. So see, that they know they're going to pay $1,200 more over the course of a year, and they may not even pay that much more in a deductible. I mean,
That's true.
they might actually be better off financially to keep it flat. Because that's guaranteed they're going to pay an extra $1,200.
That's a really, really good point.
I'm sorry, Steve, are we looking at the numbers here? Is this the employees' contributions or is this the city's contributions?
That's premium total. That's not employee or city's contribution. That is total.
Okay.
So it would be,
So 120 is the total, but that's not just the employees' contribution.
right,
That's
right. For those 14 employees only, we cover 100% of that cost.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they're not going up any.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
But they're getting that's a pretty good benefit right now, anyhow. I mean, that's a real good benefit.
Yeah, so the ones that have families,
Oh, they take the biggest hit.
yeah, they're gonna take a big hit.
If you increase it,
No, if we leave it the way it is now.
well, they're taking a big hit on that, but how much, like I said,
I know, that's what I'm saying. If we leave it the way it is now, without increasing the deductible, the ones that have families are gonna pay, what, $1,000 more a year?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
Yeah, if we leave it the same, they're gonna pay $1,000 more a year, or they can have it up, go $1,000 in their deductible up and not have to pay that $1,000 for sure.
right, yeah. Yeah.
So I think the thing to do is to keep the premium the same and increase the deductibles. That's my opinion. I don't have any say in it unless it's a tie.
It could be. I agree. I mean, I know from somebody who, raised kids and now I got grandkids and they're dealing with them. I think that extra $100 a month, that can make a big difference. I mean, like say you're not always going to hit your deductible, but you'll have to pay that out.
That's right.
You could even take 5 months of your savings and stick it back in a cabinet somewhere, and that covers your extra deductible, and then the other 7 is just profit. Plus, like I said, we've got to look at it from a city budgeting standpoint too.
We did, and I don't have those numbers. Elena could probably tell it better. We were very conservative on the numbers that we put into health insurance. We could cover it either way, for sure.
Yeah. Well, the individuals, people that don't have families, are gonna wanna keep it the same.
But you,
But you have a family, you're gonna lose $1,000 no matter what.
right. And when you're
Extra
talking,
1,200.
when you're talking about, small cost of living increases and then you up your insurance premiums, it's kind of depressing when you get that first check. But it stays, you still have the $25 copay or
Yes.
Yeah,
all of that.
oh, that's the same.
No, it's the same. The only thing that changes on it are the deductibles for in and out of network. And then of course your max out of pocket changes. That's the larger change, of course.
What does that go to, Steve?
From 4,000 to 6,000.
In network, that would go to $6,000. Out of network, it goes to $18,000 instead of 4 and 12.
Most people are going to get network. I mean, most of the time you can find someone in network or you can work with your insurance company.
What's the percentage that we're paying for like employees that have families? What is their cost?
So the formula is employees only, we pay 100%. Anybody else, spouse, children, and family, we deduct that employee amount premium out of there. That total that is left, the employee pays 20% and we pay 80%.
When do you need to answer on this?
Next meeting,
Yeah, the next meeting is when we do,
December 1st is when it comes in. No, we're on calendar now, aren't we?
yeah, we're on calendar, but we'd have to have it in before then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do it as offering the employees 2 plans, premium and base.
Oh, okay.
We could do that.
And then if they wanted to chip in
Let's do that. That's easy. Give them
we
a
cover
choice.
the existing, but if they want to upgrade to the other, then they would pay the difference, right?
We've done that before.
Yeah. That would
Historically-
let them
and
put the decision back in
historically-
their hands.
You don't get very many people who will take that base. Everybody will take the premium plan.
Yeah, so I would check with all the employees and gauge how they feel.
Yeah.
We have to answer.
I think we should give them the option though, and I think we should cover the base. And then we should give them the option if they want to pay the difference. Because that's still a really good benefit. a really good benefit. I'd kill to have that in our
Well,
situation.
governments are I don't even think they do this out at the college anymore, but I don't know for sure, but governments are the only ones that pay such a high percentage of it. And that's because we have lower wages. You know, you're talking about a basically $700 a month benefit to all the employees, plus some for the others, but you know, and that's an extra, what, $2 an hour? Or more. But even now, we're seeing what I've seen with other cities, because these are always huge discussion items on the manager's blog, is the health insurance, especially for the past several years. They've got some that are paying employee only, and that's it. If you have family and kids, say like for this one, you know, for our current plan, that's for $840 difference. The employee has to pay all of that. They'll pay their employee only. Anything other than that, and I've seen a couple of cities that don't even offer that type of thing anymore. They pay employee only. Spouses and children and families they're not covered. I don't like seeing that personally or professionally.
So do we need to put it on next meeting again when we have the other
Yeah.
two back? And then we can.
Yeah, next meeting we would do
This is just a
which is
discussion.
there's no ordinance or anything needed for it. It's just a simple approval. And I can bring back the numbers for both plans then, and kind of get an idea of where the employees fall to.
Any further discussion? Very well, then we'll move on to ordinances. Well, you want to do it on first reading and table it?
You can table it before the first reading.
Okay,
You can before.
okay. This is an ordinance rezoning Walnut and Elliott northeast corner from R2 to R3.
Move we table this ordinance until the next regular meeting.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, motion by Roger Spencer to table this ordinance till the next regular meeting. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 6 in the affirmative, 2 absent. Please put that on the agenda next. Well, I tell you what, you said next meeting.
November.
It should be said after the next P and Z deal, but that's okay. We'll worry about it. Okay, next is reports, administration report. Any comments for Steve? What, you didn't have on here what you think we're gonna have on a newer phone system, did you?
It's not an agenda item. I was just gonna cover either this or new business, either one.
Oh, okay, okay.
You've got, it's all in my report, the
Yeah,
pricing and
I see what we're paying now.
yeah.
I just wanna know what we're gonna pay in the future.
Is that,
I
I
mean,
saw,
that's
Yeah.
how much we gonna save? That's what I'm asking.
well, it did look like we were gonna save a lot, but don't we have to have landlines? I mean, because it showed we currently are paying AT&T or whoever for the landlines at this, but we still have to pay those, right? I mean, don't we have to keep one at Public Works and PD and
No,
here?
No, nothing says you have to have.
No, but nothing says we have to, except for all of us in that room, every time we ask. Because we're told that we need a landline just for emergencies, and that we had to keep a landline in here in our equipment room or whatever. Because we've talked about this every year when we talk about the phones and the budget and how much. we're told.
Previous chief was adamant about keeping a landline over there. At the PD, we don't keep one here or at Public Works. We only keep the one over at the PD.
I thought we had to have one down at the plant or something for one of our systems.
No, those dialers, the SCADA dialers are all on sale.
So we've got those on sale.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, because we've talked numerous times about switching them all, and we were told that we had to have some.
That was a previous chief that was telling you you had to.
He didn't have anything to do with public works.
No, but we've never kept one. We didn't keep one at Public Works from the beginning. Those have been on cell dialers for years.
Okay, anything else for, you got a whole bunch of lead line pictures
Yeah,
in,
people have
huh?
been really pretty good about sending those in.
That's good. Had a huge turnout for our coffee and donuts thing. Next time we have one, why don't you all show up for that? I mean, they're really pretty good donuts.
Yeah, the company may not have been that good.
Well,
The donuts
I don't
were
know,
great.
how do we get the word to you? You look on,
Facebook, we've always just put it on Facebook.
we put it on Facebook, we put it on the Carl Junction website.
Yeah.
We, unfortunately, we don't have the staff to call everyone in town and tell them when it is. And we don't have our own TV station here, or radio station,
I'm
so.
gonna get my chef's hat next time, because I'm gonna stir the pot at these meetings.
Good, good. Well, we're glad we have more than like 3 and 4 like we normally have.
Usually
This is
family
exciting.
Members.
And I think so. Anything else for Steve? Very well, we'll move on to the treasurer's report. Any comments about the treasurer's report? Just that we're spending a lot of money. Okay, then we'll move right along to department reports. Let's go to building inspector's report. Looks like Russ eked out electrical inspections.
Yeah, roofing gone by one.
I know, beat him by one. All right, nothing else for building inspector's report. Then we'll go to public works. You haven't been fixing any water lines? Yeah, that's putting in the fiber optic cable's been tearing up a lot of water lines, I have a feeling.
By stock and time.
Yep. Anything for Jay? All right then, PD. Anything for the chief?
I have a question as your role as traffic engineer there. There was a new stop sign put up on Angel Lee and Lexington. A pair of stop signs making that a four-way stop. Kind of just came out of the blue. I guess my question is, where did that come from and why and who's?
Shut up on the
Okay. I mean, I don't know. It could be a problem. I've lived there for, 13 years. I've never seen a single incident at that stop, so I don't know where it came from really.
Police department asked for it.
Okay.
Two of the officers did.
So the PD's here, right? So we can.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I guess just where'd that come from? Why is there now a stop sign there? Nobody knows. Okay. Well, I don't know that it needs to have a stop sign there. Again, I've never seen an incident there. I think it's kind of created a little bit more congestion. I don't mind that stop sign there. I think that's not a bad idea. If we remove the stop sign then at Angel Lee and Sheridan. Sheridan is not, doesn't service anywhere. There's like 2 blocks. And so Angel Lee, which probably, and this is just, I have no idea. I could probably do a traffic survey, but 100 cars an hour going up and down Angel Lee. It's very heavy with traffic. Sheridan, 2 cars a day. And the Angel Lee traffic stops for the Sheridan traffic. And so now Angel Lee traffic stopping twice. It just kind of doesn't make much sense right there. And now we got a second stop sign. I don't know if it just, nobody knows where it came from. We just put a stop sign up and with no sort of thought behind it, maybe. I don't know.
No,
Maybe.
I'm going to defend our police officers.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, I would assume there's some speeding going on.
There's some speeding going up and down that street.
Absolutely, there's. I live there.
And that's exactly
That's
what
exactly
they
why
had
they
asked
put the
for. They
stop
wanted
sign
to be able to control the speed.
Problem is the Angel Lee's 1,500 feet long and the stop sign is the first 200 feet. So we put a stop sign here on a road that's here. I don't know that it does the intended purpose to, defend to slow down the speeding on Angel Lee. And I'm saying, stop sign in the first 10 or 15% of the road. It doesn't hurt, I suppose, but and again, I think it's okay, but I would like to maybe talk to somebody about removing that stop sign then at Sheridan, and so that the Sheridan traffic stops, which just makes more sense than the Angel Lee traffic stopping on that first block. It would still, there'd be a stop sign there on Angel Lee, so if the intent is to slow down speeding, then I think that would be fine. There'd still be a stop sign, but here instead of 2 stops on Angel Lee. I don't know who I can talk to. I guess the police department about that. Maybe we can look at that together. I don't know. Or
That's probably the biggest thing is the phone calls I got or emails or texts from people I go to church with and things. Was where'd that come from? And we had no idea. I was like, I don't know. So if it's
I thought I was going crazy because one day I'm like, wait a second, there's a stop sign here. I've lived there for 13 years. And
Can you get me from running that if I tell you I have ran it 3 or 4 times already? I'm turning at that corner. Yeah. So, I mean, it's. And then I noticed that.
I didn't know it was put up there.
Randy, well, I know the guy that lives on the corner there. Now he's parking in his yard. I think because people can't see that stop sign when you come off. There's a lot of cars parked on that particular section. It makes it more congested, and I don't know if it's dangerous or not, but I know Randy's parking in his yard now. So I don't know if he did that because of the stop sign or whatever. But
If we got some extra signs.
yeah, as far as it's for speeding,
I only put it up for you.
I'm hurry to get home. Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, I'll spend that.
normally we don't do this, but I'll let it go this way.
Well, we were talking about police department, and I don't know what the ordinance are here for parking on the street. People got campers in the street, disabled vehicles. People park right next up to the corner. You can't see around the corner. I live on Kaplan Circle in Hartley, and when you come out of there, there's usually someone parked on the other side, and they're all parked trying to get next to the corner because no one wants to walk to their house. Well, and then down the street from that, there's a big camper in the street, which been there for about a month now. And disabled cars in the end of Hartley, all the way down to the end. Who owns all those vehicles down there that change their oil and all that grease and stuff? We pay for that road. Taxpayers.
If you get online, you can look at all the ordinances that we have, and you can find out what is it for the corner, 25 feet?
Contact the police department and talk to the code enforcement officer about disabled vehicles and stuff. If that vehicle's licensed, camper trailer's licensed, fully functional, as long as it's not blocking more than 10 feet of the roadway, it's legally parked.
10 feet width,
Yeah,
right?
if there's 10 feet if traffic can still go through, it's legal.
And what about close to the corner? Isn't
Isn't
that like 25 or 30 feet?
Me and Steve just talked about this. We're looking at the ordinances about how close to an intersection you can park.
Right.
We are looking at changing a couple things on there. Because I can't remember, Dickie had this come up and there was a problem with an unmarked, no curve along the intersection and imaginary lines of the intersection. So I'd have to double check that again. And if you want, you can contact me tomorrow in my office and I can look it up for you.
All right.
I don't normally recognize anybody as special today,
Do you feel special?
because it's such a short meeting. Anything else for the PD?
Shop with the cop. How is that going? Shop with the cop.
Just kick that off. We've got a few donations coming in. Of course, this time of year, we're starting to panic because we don't know if we're going to have enough money coming in. We're shooting for between 230 to 250 kids again, at $120 a piece. So we definitely need the donations. Shop the Cop will take place December 9th at the Webb City Walmart.
You still going to do that really early in the morning?
It's not as early as it used to be. It's 7 o'clock now. We would like to have the volunteers there between 6:30 and 6:45 to get everything organized. But it's still better than 6 a.m. it used to be.
Very good. Okay, we'll move right along to committee reports. Budget and Finance.
We met at 6:30 to go over some numbers for some of the new management systems and digital ticket writing systems for the police department. The chief will be getting some more information, and we should see it on the agenda for the next meeting for an ordinance and to approve. We can get everything in place for a contract to switch over on some of those. So we'll have more information then, but in discussion, the budget committee did recommend moving forward with those. So you guys will get the information, you can consider it, review it, and we will vote on it at the next regular meeting. That is.
Any questions? Very well, code and nuisance.
Nothing at this time.
Thank you. Human resources, Roger.
Nothing at this time, sir.
Facilities, Mike.
I have nothing, sir.
Economic development, Holly.
Yes, if everyone's available from budget and economic development, I'd like to have a meeting on Monday, the 13th at 4:15 for a presentation from Retail Strategies.
I will be out of town.
Oh, you will?
Yes, but that's okay. You can have it without me.
Is that going to be Zoom, or are they going to come, or are we going to do it?
It's going to be a Zoom presentation. Do you want us to wait until you're here?
No, go ahead.
What time did you say? Monday at 4:15. Is that okay with you, Rick?
For an hour?
Yeah. So Rick, Soko, Ladonna's good.
We can cast it here.
Okay. And then, can you check with David Pyle, see if he can go to that? Thank you. That's all.
Okay, moving along, unfinished business. We'll start with Bill.
Nothing.
Mike?
I have nothing, sir.
Ladonna?
Can I finish?
I have nothing. Roger?
Nothing.
Rick?
No, sir.
Holly?
I'm finished. I'd like to thank everyone that came out to speak on the zoning change. I'm sorry that is getting tabled till next week, but I appreciate all your opinions. Thank you.
Very good. Anything else?
No, thank you.
Mr. Talbot? Lena? Crystal?
Yes, sir.
Steve?
Those are
Jay? Mark?
Yeah,
Okay.
on the phone lines, Steve has in his report, I'd like to see something done with the police department especially. We're having problems since we've got several vendors for different lines. The rollover feature is down more than it's up. In fact, I don't know if it's working now where we get more than one call on 7070 and it fails to roll over. People just get a busy signal. Jasper County has been unable to get a hold of us on their dedicated line that they use for us a couple of weeks ago. So something really needs to be done. We've had ongoing problems with it for years. Lena dealt with it when she was dispatch supervisor, and it's just been constant, and it's gotten worse.
All right. Who's the carrier on those?
we have both MediaCom and AT&T. AT&T line seems to be the one. That's the 707.
Yeah.
This the landline is the one that's been the problem. I mean, we constantly have problems with the MediaCom lines, but
Yeah. Only when the sun comes up.
So you
That it,
asked,
Mark?
you asked earlier on that system, it's on your sheet there. Total ongoing cost switching over would be $608 plus taxes every month. And currently we're spending $1,600 or $2,600 a month.
Save $2,000 a month,
Save
$24,000 a
$2,000 a
year.
month.
Good. All right. Because we already have fiber in here.
Yep.
So
We're
we're just ready to go.
I got a list today, and I forgot to print it off for you, of all the facilities now that have fiber run to them. But we have a lot. They've done a great job here.
Yep.
The PD has it in, the line's hot and everything. We just have to plug it into the right port, I guess.
Good. New business. Holly.
No, sir.
Rick.
No, sir.
Roger.
Nothing.
The only thing I have is, yesterday they started construction on the pavilion and playground at Briarbrook. Jay's got to move a water line. Hopefully. And then they can dig a little deeper, I guess. That's all I have. Donna?
Nothing.
Well, I just want to mention or expand on what you're saying there. The construction started. There was a little bit of question whether we were going to do some changes or not. So are we going to know those before? Are we going to have a chance to vote on those before? Are we rolling with?
Change orders for the.
We are rolling with the original that it was.
I thought we were going to talk about changes that were coming.
We still can, and we did do that, and nobody made a decision or gave me direction on what to go with.
You said you're going to bring that back to the next meeting.
We did, and you were gone at that.
Well, but wait,
I don't see it in the minutes. So.
when you brought the change and stuff that was the 58,000, that's when we said, okay, go forward with everything. Did people not assume that when we said that looks better, go with it, that's what we were talking about? Because we were told that those would be brought in change orders that we would actually have to vote on.
Which they can be.
Right, but so we did that, but we are going to get those changes, correct?
Yeah, all I got to do is call him and tell him to send those change orders through. And
Well,
we'll have those for the next meeting.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, because I think everybody up here assumed when we said we're good, because.
Well, I don't want to say that I was assuming anything. We were told that we were going to have.
Right, that we would have the vote on.
And so.
Right, but it's not, when you said we're going forward with the original, we still are going to get change orders to vote on, correct?
If you want them, I'll have them here the next time. Absolutely.
It sounds a little different than what we agreed to. Maybe I misunderstood at the time. We were going to change the plan so that, at least in my mind, we were going to save a big portion of that money that could then be put towards playground stuff.
The problem was that there was discussion both ways that night. I did not get direction on which way to do it, other than bringing the change orders back.
So the change orders will then, what we're going to see next week will be change orders for taking whatever the savings is and putting it towards.
No,
playground.
no, that's not what we're going to do.
That's not.
We're not saving any money then.
Right, but we're.
Right,
Unless I'll take,
we were saving
the
money.
The change orders you're going to make, like on the pavilion, if it's going to change the size of it, you can never make it any larger.
Right.
The playground, if you do that, you can always add on to the playground.
Right, but everybody at that last meeting looked at those numbers and said, okay, let's do that. We've got the 58,000 that it will. And then you said, we'll bring change orders and then we'll get a change order that we can go ahead and put that into. We would be getting two change orders. One to do this, then the other change order that we could decide to either count that as savings, or we could do a change order and increase the size of the playground. All of that was discussed, and all of that is on the recorded meeting. So you can go back and you can listen to all of it. Because we should not have to say, we want that change order brought to vote on. Because we said that during the meeting. You said you would bring them and we would vote on the change orders. And it was very clear in there. We even said, we have the money, we can do this. What are your wishes? And that was the consensus at that time. And so we went ahead and approved the contract, and you were going to bring the change orders back. And Rick is right. We talked about if we save that, and you said yes, then you can decide whether you just have that savings or whether we go ahead and do that, and then we can do a change order on that. Because we wanted to shift some of that money over to make that playground larger. And I think if everybody goes back, Rick is right. That was all discussed at the time.
I brought up, I don't want to change it,
Right.
but I know some
He
people
didn't
did.
want to.
And so
And neither did David.
I know some people did. And so we
But
all
that's
knew
true.
that we were going to have the opportunity to vote on that.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
tough.
I just want the opportunity to let
Right.
those that want to change it, let them have their speak and have a chance to vote on that. I think that's fair. So next meeting, we'll have the change orders. Excellent.
Yeah.
One other thing then in new business. Is there any reports on what goes into our drinking water? This is a completely changed subject here. Do we add anything to our drinking water, specifically
Chlorine.
fluoride?
No.
Okay, perfect.
We haven't put fluoride in for years.
That was
We
my other
only
question.
We only use chlorine for disinfection.
All right, fair enough. That's it. I'm done.
Bill?
Jason, congratulations on your new member of the family.
Thank you.
That's it.
Mr. Talley?
Nothing there.
Elena? Crystal? Steve?
No.
Okay. Mark?
Nope.
Is there any other business for the council?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion by Roger Spencer, second by Helen Levy, we adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 6 in the affirmative. 2 absent, we are adjourned. Thank you all for attending. We appreciate it.
I second the insurance.